We are live again, folks.
Hi.
Hello there, pods. So we've had a lot going on, and it's been a while. So where to begin? I guess if you have been watching our videos, we have done a lot of stuff in the past month or so. And we first went to King's Dominion. Last time we went live, we talked about how we were going to do something that weekend. We weren't sure exactly what, but so we ended up going to Virginia. We weren't exactly sure about the weather, but as you all know, you can't always trust what the weatherman says, so you kind of just have to take a chance sometime and decide to do what you had planned to do to start with, no matter what, and just be prepared for the worst. And we decided to do that instead of stay here and sit at home. So first off, we were already planning on going to Busch Gardens. We've already talked about there were pass holders. But then while I was working that weekend, I had looked into seeing how much it would be to be a pass holder for King's Dominion. Because we love King's Dominion as well, and it's not but like maybe an hour away from Busch Gardens. And it actually wasn't that expensive, so we decided to make a weekend out of it. The closer we got to the weekend, the better our chances were as far as the weather went. So we just decided the day of that we're going to go to King's Dominion. So we went to King's Dominion that Sunday before Memorial Day. And weather ended up actually being pretty great, other than the heat. It was very hot that day. As you can see in our videos, we looked a little worn out at times. We didn't stay as long as we hoped to because of the heat of the day, and there were a couple things that were closed. Overall, though, it was pretty nice. Most of the rides we got to ride that were open were barely a wait at all, and we always get to enjoy our favorite roller coaster of all time, the Intimidator.
Yeah.
So that was great. And yeah,
you got to ride it 3 or 4 times without even having to get off.
Yeah, we found out they got a few new locker sections in the park. Usually you can take your bags with you on certain rides, and they have usually a box beside the ride before you get on it, where you can put your stuff in there and they lock it up until you come back off the ride. This time we found out you had to rent lockers in certain areas. That was something new. Another something new is they changed the name of a couple of the rides, and I've shown my displeasure with some of the ones that they changed, because they changed Rebel Yell to Racer 75, which is ridiculous and on so many levels, but don't want people to be butthurt. But anyway, but then we got to try the main thing that was new about King's Dominion was Twisted Timbers. And initially we tried to ride it, and we couldn't because it was down. Seems like that it's been happening a lot. We've been watching some videos on YouTube on other people that have been, and they've been having the same issue with it being down, and when it did finally come back up, it only had one train going. So once they finally started letting people get in line, it took forever, and it won't really that many people. You can tell that's where most of the crowd was. The crowd that was there to ride that, and once they opened the line, it just people just swamped in there, and we got there. We got in there pretty good to start with. I was like, "Oh, this shouldn't take long," but then we found out they only had one train going, and then it was taking them forever to unload and load people back in. And
we have very specific instructions when they're loading people, which I feel like people weren't used to. So you basically have to just get in it, and they want you to hook a seatbelt, but not touch the lap bar that comes up over your lap, because they want to do that.
Which it makes sense. I actually prefer it on some rides because a lot of them want you to do it yourself. They don't want to hurt you when they push down on the lap bar, even for people that, I mean, you want it to be secure no matter what size you are, but even more so for bigger people. Some of these rides they make differently than others and are more restricted. So this one, it took a couple more pushes to get me in there, and it was a good thing that they actually did that, because sometimes they want you to do it, and it's hard to push the lap bar than to I mean, it's harder to pull the lap bar to you than to push it. You can't put much weight on it when you're pushing it. Or, sorry, I keep saying it wrong. Pulling it. But if someone's leaning on it, pushing it, obviously you get more weight. And it usually doesn't bother me at all. I mean, if it does, I can handle it for a minute. It's not a very long ride. But anyway, get to the ride itself. Wow. Definitely different. The thrill level is really, really high. I think if they would have designed the handles on it a little better, I might have enjoyed it a little better. But just the initial shock of the ride itself, they have handles on the bottom of the...
Almost where your knees are.
Yeah, almost where your knees are.
So you don't have anything in your upper torso or lap for you to hold on to. The handles are like where your knees are. So I don't know if they did that to discourage people from putting their hands up, because I can see that. I wasn't a fan of the ride. I don't know if my thighs were just too big, but the whole ride, you get a lot of airtime, and every time I come up out of my seat, it really dug into my thighs. It was not, I wasn't impressed. But maybe that was just because of me and how my weight's distributed, possibly. But I wasn't a huge fan of it. The first barrel roll drop was the best part, and then after that, it was okay.
To me, I think the ride itself was great, but the cart design was not that great to me. I felt like that I was gonna be thrown out of my seat multiple times. Like I said, the handle placement, I wasn't too fond of. So the ones in the middle where you hold the handle, it's not big enough to get two regular size hands in the middle. So I basically was holding on with one hand.
Because I was holding on.
The entire time.
I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you have to do, but I'm using both hands.
Right. So
they put the 2 seat lap bars so close together, 2 normal size hands can't fit.
Right. So there. It's a lot of hills, and normally I really like, but it felt like every time you went up to the top and came back down, you were coming out of your seat. And like I said, normally I like that. In this case, where I really wasn't able to hold on like I wanted to, I wasn't a big fan.
And also how the grips were made on the handles. I was gripping the handle so hard, I was pulling the rubber, like the rubber grip off of the handle.
Right.
So I like look down and I've already halfway pulled the rubber grip off of the handle I was holding on to. that was great.
Yeah.
In the middle of the ride.
But anyway, it was still nice to ride something different. And I'm not exactly sure why they're starting to make some of these hybrid coasters where the wooden coaster part of it is the actual track, where the steel is the frame. I understand they're still trying to get this wooden coaster effect to it, but I don't know. I feel like over time, I mean, it was already a rough ride, brand new, and I feel like over time it's just going to get a little more rickety and ragged, and it's hard to maintain that. Because now when you go back from when you start riding some of these steel coasters to getting on a wooden coaster, it's like,
oh gosh,
it's rough.
It's real rough.
But anyway, so King's Dominion was great. We left about probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon, give or take, so we could go check into our hotel. We had planned on going to Busch Gardens that night, but once we got to our hotel, we realized this was a very, very good idea, because and like we said in our previous videos, we like to use Hotwire, Priceline, any kind of those express deals or Hotwire deals where you can find deals of the day or normal, prices that, people have canceled last second, or there's a holiday going on or something. The weather might be the reason why they go down. I don't know why.
I think that was really the situation in our case.
Yeah. So
Memorial Day weekend, because we literally booked our hotel the night before we left.
Yep.
At probably like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Sometimes it's a bad idea, because if the weather is great and they're anticipating a large crowd, they'll go up in price. But in this case, the weather was still kind of iffy. It was a holiday weekend. A lot of people going to the beach this time of year because it's getting hot. And we were able to find a really, really nice hotel, and we showed it in our video.
You need to check that video out.
If you want to check out the end of the King's Dominion video, it shows you where we stayed and
layout of the room. Well, suite.
Yeah.
Layout of the suite.
Right. So we ended up doing that and didn't go out the rest of the night. We ordered Pizza Inn. Not Pizza Inn, the restaurant Pizza Inn, but we ordered in
pizza. So we didn't have to leave.
And we chilled in the hot tub. Like I said, I got naked, and it was great. But
excuse me, our garden tub.
Yeah.
Not the hot tub. We didn't have a personal hot tub in our room, but we had a garden tub in our suite.
So anyway, first day was really, really great. We definitely got our money's worth, and we'll get our money's worth going forward with King's Dominion. I think right now they got a deal going on where you can get the unlimited gold pass for like $15, $16 a month, and that is really good if you plan on going multiple times a year like we do. It only takes a couple trips to get your money back, and they have good meal plans there too, so highly recommend that.
Plus you get discounts on merchandise.
Yep. Food. If you're a big roller coaster rider, I think I would highly recommend King's Dominion, or any Cedar Fair for that matter, because they're mainly focused on rides, not a lot of shows and other extracurricular activities that you would normally could do at a theme park.
They do have an area for kids.
Yeah, they do have.
So if you have kids,
we didn't show that in the video, but So next day we went to Busch Gardens. Wow.
That I feel like it was probably one of the best days we've had at an amusement park.
We first got
Ever.
there, and we had to sit in line. So that when we first were sitting there, we got there pretty early, and we normally don't get there that early. So we actually got in before they started parking people, and it was a line, and we were like, I guess everybody else had the same idea today. But once we got in, and then the initial rush to get into the park, and then we started walking around and whatnot, and then, you know, hour after hour, we started realizing that there's hardly anybody here. If there is, it's all spread out really well. We were walking on rides and walking on rides.
Front row of rides.
The bigger rides, the Griffin, the Verbolten, Apollo's Chariot, Tempesto, all the big name rides, we were walking straight on it. And this trip was the first time where we didn't have any trouble at all sitting in the front row on any ride. And except for Alpengeist, which I think it was a
employee
error, not on our part, because
Yeah.
we were able to fit on every other ride, front row. And the Griffin, oh my God, I have a new love for the Griffin in the front row.
That's right, front row.
God, I actually said in my video that I think front row in the Griffin is actually better than the Intimidator in that first initial drop, and I still stand by that. But like I said, the rest of the ride is still great too, but it's not as intense as the Intimidator.
It's a dive coaster. If you've never been on the Griffin, it's considered a dive coaster.
Yeah. But we've shown that multiple times in our videos if you want to check that out. Yeah, just the whole day, it was just so odd. We were thinking about doing the food and wine thing, and we didn't because we could just basically walk on any ride we wanted to. So that's what we kept on doing.
We just didn't want to stop riding to do that because we're like, when are we going to be back again?
Right.
And be able to walk on rides like we did.
Busch Gardens is normally packed all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we never saw rain until about maybe mid-afternoon. And then I think people were just starting to leave as soon as it started raining, just a little bit.
And it just cleared out.
And so we ended up getting a locker at the Griffin. So we rode the Griffin the like second or third time around at this point.
The lockers are what, 2 hours?
Yeah,
2 hour rentals.
Yeah. So we walked from the Griffin all the way around the park, and so like we'll be back in 2 hours. I think we actually took the train. Sorry. And so we went back to Apollo's Chariot because now I have a new love for Apollo's Chariot. I was only able to ride it once before this trip, so I never really got the full effect of how much I love this ride. We rode it 10 times in a row without getting off the ride. That's how low of a crowd it was. And it was just a little bit of rain here and there, and that made it even better. I mean, we got a little wet, but I think it gave the ride some character.
Oh God, that's a great ride.
God, it's so mean.
Such a great ride.
And then the people reactions coming on and off of it too. We got to meet some people in the time that we rode it. We probably rode it for an hour straight, and oh man, we were just dying. Got to be one of the best experiences we've ever had going to a theme park.
Mm.
And so Apollo's Chariot's probably my second favorite ride there now, other than the Griffin, followed by Verbolten. But so on the last time we got on Apollo's Chariot, we saw that the ride beside us, which is Tempesto, was not. It was didn't have a line like all the rest of them. Like was it, and so that's when we finally got off. We were already at the point now where we need to start heading back into our locker, or otherwise we're going to be late. And so we got off of Paul's Chariot finally after 10 times in a row. We got in on Tempesto, and wow, I about died. I literally about died. We got up in the air. If you ever been on Tempesto, it's a very, very short ride, but you go very quickly. When we got to the top where you twirl around, as we were coming down, my harness came off. Now, on a Tempesto, you have a lap bar, and then you have a harness that buckles into the lap bar. And, at this point, I don't know if the lap bar and the harness itself all comes down at once, or is it all one mechanism where if one comes loose, the other comes loose? I'm freaking out. So I'm trying to hold in my lap bar just as tight as I can without trying to fall. And that was very, very scary.
You weren't thinking about maybe this isn't really needed when something like that happens on a ride.
Right.
You just know that it shouldn't be happening, and you start to freak out because the ride wasn't over. I mean, we literally just got done hanging upside down.
Right.
So I'm like reaching over, trying to help him get the buckle back in the lap bar. I can't get it. My hands are shaking so bad.
Oh, man.
So all I could do was like hold the bar, like help him hold the bar to him. The guy behind us is like, because we were in like the next to last row, the guy behind us is like, "Are you guys okay?" And we're like, "Oh, his harness just came off." And the ride ends. We get out, and I tell the girl working there, one of them, I was like, "Y'all might want to have this seat looked at because his harness just came off."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, well, that's not really needed. It's just there,
just
to be there, just like a comfort collar," is what she called it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I didn't feel very comfortable.
That's not the point. Like, if something isn't needed in a ride, what's the purpose of having it there?
Yeah.
So I was really upset by her answer.
Right.
Like, I didn't appreciate that. I can only imagine how he felt because I was upset about it. And I was like, okay, that's enough of this ride.
Yeah, I'm not the type of person that makes a big deal out of things. Pretty much with anything. I don't like a lot of confrontation, especially with people that have nothing to do with the ride itself or the design of the ride. They're just there to do their job. They're just there to get you on the ride, get you off the ride. And I understand if I needed to really express my concerns, I could go to some type of management, someone that would be able to help me out. But I just like, you know what? Oh, well, we did actually look it up later on, and there have been people that have had the same issue. And it's just that safety, that comfort harness. Apparently the lap bar is what actually holds you in the ride and does all the work. I didn't know that.
You just know that you don't want anything unbuckling.
Right.
When you're in the middle of a ride. You're not thinking.
And something comes loose, you freak out. First time that's ever happened to me.
We've been on a lot of rides.
Hopefully the last time.
Hopefully the last time.
It'll be the last time I get on Tempesto.
Yeah.
Because I really like that ride. But now I'm just like, no, I don't know about that ride.
And typically for the line that you have to wait in to ride that ride, it's not worth it. It's a huge line because it's only a single track ride at one car. All it does is basically go back and forth really fast, upside down at one time. And the ride's like literally like a minute and 10 seconds long.
Yeah. So, hard pass.
So just be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful.
And after that was the last ride of the day.
That was about it.
We took the train back to the locker. By this time, we are late getting back to the locker. We had to call the manager or one of the supervisors to
Supervisor.
come unlock our locker because we couldn't unlock our locker because it expired.
Because apparently, if it expires, you have to pay some kind of extra charge per amount of time. I can't remember if they do it like per half hour or 20 minutes or whatever they do it. Well, we didn't have a way to pay. All of our crap was in the locker. So we're like, we can't really get our locker open because we don't have any method of paying.
Yeah, I know it was our fault that we got back to our locker late. And I feel like there should be a better system to how you should handle getting back to your locker late, because that's the whole point of the locker, is to put all your belongings in there, all your loose articles. So
you're not supposed to have like a car.
I don't want my wallet on me when I'm riding upside down roller coasters.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, in a lot of places you can't.
Yeah.
Like a lot of rides are like, no loose articles.
Yeah. So after that, like I said, it was like the best day ever up until that point. At that point, I thought I was going to die, but I got over it. And so from there, we went straight home. It was probably one of the first times where we've ever went to a theme park from open to close
all day
and drove straight home afterwards.
Yeah.
And the drive home sucked.
Awful
to drive home. It was raining and it was dark.
It was dark. We were tired. We was wore out. I had to go to work the next day.
But
oh gosh, I was so ill.
Looking back, I'd do it all over. You know, it was totally worth it. Oh man, such a great trip. In fact, I just don't. Of all the places we've been to and how many times we've been to theme parks, and I just don't see how we could top that.
Yeah. Because
of the crowd level being so low. Like I said, Busch Gardens is normally packed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to
find
out.
It's a long wait for everything.
Yep. So that's it for that weekend. I have to work. I have to work every other weekend, so the next weekend I worked. Not really much going on during when I'm working.
Last weekend.
So then the weekend that I didn't work, which was the following weekend after that, we decided to go to the beach. We met up with our friends and we went to Hammocks Beach, which is near Swansboro in North Carolina. We took a ferry to the beach itself, and then it's about a half a mile walk to get to the beach. So it's like an island where usually there's not a lot of people there, but because it was Military Appreciation Day, there was a lot of people there, more than usual. And it was fun. The only thing I don't like about it is you've got to take the bare minimum on the ferry when you get over there, so you're not really prepared like you would be if you just went to a normal beach. But the deserted part of it, the normal crowd level part of it, usually is pretty good. And the ferry ride was nice. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
The only part that I really got frustrated with was trying to get back. There were a ton of people trying to get back.
And the bugs.
And
man,
they didn't have a lot of boats going back.
They pulled up. There's like a huge line on this pier thing waiting for the boat to show up, and they pull up with like a boat that will fit 10 people, and we're like,
yeah,
this is it. Yeah. Like, where's the big boat?
Yeah. So once we finally
we didn't have to wait for that boat. They finally brought a couple big boats and got people off pretty quick. But
yep. We finally got back and we checked in our hotel. And
it's really nice.
Ate at Chewy's and everything was really great. Nothing out of the ordinary really worth talking about. Just a really nice hotel and got some good sleep. And then was supposed to go into work the next day at some point to help them move some stuff because they were doing the floors. And I ended up not going because I got talked into going back to the beach.
Yeah.
So we went back to the beach and a different beach in Topsail Island the next day. And because it was so close, we were able to take more stuff. It was better to set up the little canopy thing we had, and it was a lot calmer. The water was a lot calmer. The weather was great. So I'm out there, not too far from when we left. Time before we left, I'm out there in the waves. I was like, I'm going in one more time, guys, and when I get it back out, we can go. I get out there, and I like getting out there pretty far. Not too far, but far enough where you can be, with the waves crashing down on you, and it's great. But as I'm watching the waves in front of me, over here to my left, probably, I want to say 20, 25 feet, something like that, I can see one of the waves coming about to crash down. I see a fin. It was like that. Scared the shit out of me because I knew it was a shark, and that's the closest I've ever been to a shark in the wild. My ass turned around and ran as fast as I possibly could out of that water. And
me and Jamie were sitting in our chairs, like right. I like to sit right when the water comes up, put our chairs there, and sit with like our feet in the water. We're sitting there, and there was a couple little kids out there. And this lady walks over to us and she's like, "Are those your kids out there?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Oh, well, do you know whose kids they are?" She's like, "Somebody just saw a shark out there." And I look out there and Casey is standing further up. Like I hadn't seen him really run up, but he was standing further up, just staring out into the ocean with his arms crossed. Like probably maybe between knee and shin, probably knee and ankle deep, maybe shin deep in the water, just staring at something. And I was like, he saw something.
Yeah, I did.
So he comes up there.
And it wasn't Briss.
She's like, "Did you see the shark?" And he was like, "Yeah." So then she went and told the people beside us whose kids they were, and they hurried up and got out of the water.
Yeah.
But I told him, I was like, 2 near-death experiences. I was like, "You are on lockdown next weekend," which was last weekend, and he was.
Oh, man.
I was like, "There's no way. No way."
Mm. But yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah.
So
shark bait.
We left there, and we were really hungry once we left there. So we decided to find something local, and we found this place called Sears Landing, and they had fresh seafood right on the water. And we aren't normally, at least I'm not normally a seafood type of person, and obviously being on this healthy lifestyle that we're trying to stick to, I try not to eat a lot of fried stuff. This time I was like, you know what, we're down here at the beach.
I could have ate it grilled. I'd have been fine with that, but he wasn't sure what he was gonna like grilled.
Yeah, so. I was not
spend all that
grilled.
Money and then not like it.
Yeah, so we got fried. So we got the biggest plate they got and shared it, and it was amazing.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was just like one of those things, like you needed that kind of comfort food after being at the beach for the last 2 days.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so good. It was a place right on the inlet there.
So if you ever go to Topsail Island, look up Sears Landing.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually right across from the street from when we went to Lanier's campground down there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
remember the name of that street.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the street, and I can't remember if we were actually started vlogging when we camped there.
I don't think we
had. I don't think we had, but we're gonna have to go back and show you it because
I feel like it starts with a K.
It was a really great place.
It was really good.
So we had to go home from there and then go to work the next day. So that started another 11-day stretch. And that's at the point where we're at now. So this weekend, because my family also have annual passes to Busch Gardens, they were like, "Hey, we're ready to go back to Busch Gardens." I was like, "We just went, but we will go again." So we're going to Busch Gardens 2 days from now. Imagine that. I'm not sure if we'll vlog this one. I'm sure I'll vlog a little bit of it. I don't want to keep showing the same stuff, but it's so hard not to go back to these places, especially when your family wants to go and you have annual passes. All you have to do is just show up. Basically, the only thing you really pay for is the hotel and the food. If you're splitting that with people, and it's even less to go.
We might vlog a little bit though, because we were talking about possibly doing the food and wine festival.
That's right.
So if we do that, we'll definitely vlog.
Yeah, we'll have to
let you know if it's worth the money.
Show you some reviews on the food and wine festival.
And we were going back because
somebody had an anniversary.
7 years on Monday.
Yes, this past Monday on June 11th was our 7th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
We've been together for 15 years now, and this was our 7th wedding anniversary. So we were actually together a lot, longer before we got married. But we're starting to catch up with how long we've been married. Yeah. So we're going to celebrate because we couldn't celebrate during the week.
It was a gross Monday. Worst thing that I've ever done is to not take off on my anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because it was a Monday. Both of us had terrible days. We're like, this will be the last time that we ever not take off on our anniversary. Because last year, I think we were off.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I think it fell on the weekend last weekend.
No, the year before that, we were off because we were in Busch Gardens for our 5th year. Yeah,
it was actually our anniversary that we went to Busch Gardens and we started going back to theme parks.
Yeah.
And that what ultimately started motivating us to start losing weight. So it's actually because of our anniversary.
I feel like it was our 5th year anniversary that we went there the first time.
Yeah. So it was like
the very first time.
Like almost exactly 2 years ago was when we decided this is what's going to keep us motivated to keep doing what we're doing. So yeah, it's been a really, really rough week for me. Without getting too much into detail, I've had a lot of anger issues dealing with work. But I'm finally to my Friday. Today is Thursday, but it is my Friday. So I feel like I just need a couple days away, clear my head. Maybe I'll about die on a roller coaster again. That'll get me thinking about it, something different.
Oh,
but yeah, I can't believe we've been together or been married for 7 years now.
That's crazy. It seems like just yesterday we're on the beach getting married.
Yeah, we actually got married in Oak Island in North Carolina.
We will be going there soon. So if you don't know where that's at, stay tuned.
We haven't set a date for that one yet, but we are definitely going to go back at some point.
Yeah.
So we've got Busch Gardens planned this weekend.
Are we going to tell them about the other
big
one?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get into that. Ooh. So not this weekend, because like I said, we're doing Busch Gardens. 2 weekends from now, Friday the 13th, July. Well, actually, it's probably closer to
like a month.
I'm sorry. 2 weekends from now, we're probably going to try and take a train. If everything works out right, we're going to take a train to Charlotte. And she's never been to Carowinds, which is also owned by Cedar Fair, who owns Kings Dominion. So we should be able to get discount tickets because we're pass holders of Kings Dominion, which is owned by Cedar Fair. And they've got the Fury 325, which I haven't been able to ride yet since the last time I went down there. I was not small enough to ride it. This time I should be able to ride everything there. So we're thinking about Carowinds in 2 weeks.
Possibility. It's so hard to go to new places when you have passes to places and don't have to pay for anything.
Right.
That just makes it so hard to want to go somewhere where you actually have to pay to get in, because you go to Kings Dominion and Busch Gardens for free. All we got to do is show up. But then again,
you want to do stuff new too. So,
Yeah.
Being that she's never been to Carowinds, and I still a lot of stuff there that I haven't been able to ride, I'm really excited about going back there. So we're gonna try Carowinds in a couple weeks. A month from now, we are going to Myrtle Beach with some family because my oldest sister's birthday is around 4th of July. Well, actually on 4th of July, but since we're not able to go there that week because she has to work, we decided to go the week after where we're both off together. So we're going to Myrtle Beach in a month. The only thing past that point that we have planned is we are going to Kentucky. That's Kentucky.
I don't even think I've told anybody in my family we're going to Kentucky.
Plans are not exactly thought out in stone yet, but we had bought the tickets for the festival that's there. It's going to be just like the Rebellion, except it's in Kentucky. So far, the plan that we've come up with that hopefully still pans out is we are going to fly into Nashville, rent a car from Nashville, Tennessee, tour Nashville for the day. It's going to be on a Thursday, and then drive to Louisville, Kentucky, which is where the festival is going to be for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just like the Rebellion. And then from there, we will, this time we're going to get a hotel. We're not going to camp because we're not really familiar with the territory. So didn't really feel like.
Plus, with flying, we won't be able to take all that stuff.
Exactly.
Anyway, so
once the festival's over, we're going to drive to Cincinnati and then fly home from Cincinnati. And it's going to be from Thursday to Monday, end of September. So many good people are going to be there.
Some of the same people, but there's a few different ones
right
that I haven't seen. So
Avenged Sevenfold is going to be there, which is the shirt I have on. So they'll be there. Limp Bizkit's going to be there. Ice Cube is going to be there on Sunday. Yeah.
I didn't know he sang rock.
They always throw some random
person
on the last day to try to get
they didn't
more
throw no
diverse
random
crowd
people
in
on the
there.
Rebellion except for Muse.
Yeah. But
sorry, any Muse fans are watching.
But yeah, we're really excited for that. That's something that we haven't done before. Never been to Tennessee, never been to Kentucky. And,
I've been to Tennessee, but not the same part. It's been a while.
I'm really excited to see some new stuff, do some new things, see some new bands. So yeah, we have that to look forward to. We still got a few months for that to plan. We've already got a good chunk of it already paid for and planned. So that's what's going on. It's exciting stuff. Like I said, I'm still working every other weekend, but because I'm doing that, we're able to get a little extra money to plan all these different things that we've got going on. As far as our weight loss goes, I am at 129 pounds right now. I am 36 pounds away from my goal. When I first started doing this, I was about 165 pounds away from my goal. So the point where I'm getting close is really, really exciting. Yeah, it's just been really, really nice. Finally seeing some more weight loss. I stopped lifting as much. So my weight is starting to go down a little more consistent. I think once I get finally to my goal and down close to where I want to be, then I'm going to start lifting more, toning it up more. Just want to focus on the weight first. I'm really afraid to keep lifting and getting off track from my weight loss, because it's really hard to keep the motivation if you're not seeing results on the scale. I know there's other ways to measure and to track your progress, but the easiest way for me is the scale. And I feel like I should get my weight loss or my weight down where I want it to be before I start worrying about building muscle and toning it up. That's where I'm at now. What I'm doing, still working. I'm still heading in the right direction. It's just taking a little while longer than it used to, like I said before, but still doing great. Still sticking to our diets. We're still having our cheat meals every once in a while when we start traveling and doing all the stuff that we're doing. We still have
We ride all that off though.
Yeah, we do enough walking and riding and
lifting those arms up. Them rides. We should take my bat wings.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's about it. Ready for the weekend.
Yes. Ready to recuperate.
Man.
That is about it for now.
That is about it. 46 minutes later. That has been the recap of the last 4 weeks.
Yeah. So, stay tuned for some more Potterhead videos.
Definitely check out the videos
And
we were talking about earlier.
you will see some more content coming very soon. I hope y'all enjoy it. I hope y'all have a good night.
Have a good night.
Weekend coming up. And we'll see you on the next trip.
Woohoo!
The next adventure.
Bye.
Bye.